Hello, here we are again. Today we continue with adjective clauses with prepositions. And in this lesson, we will learn more things about this kind of clauses. Okay? Now let us begin. We have finished our review. Now let us see today's topic, and it is adjective clauses with prepositions. You have here the main clause, people or things. He's the actor, it's the studio, that's the director, that's the movie, okay? In the main clause, you may have people or things. And then you have a preposition. The preposition can be at the beginning of the adjective clause, or it can be at the end, okay? Look at this. He is the actor to whom she was talking. He's the actor to whom she was talking. Okay, you have to, and then you have the relative pronoun. Remember that I had told you before that the relative pronoun introduces the adjective clause, but that doesn't happen all the time. And what is the exception? If you have a preposition, okay? The preposition goes before the relative pronoun. That is one way. To whom she was talking. But it is also possible to have the preposition at the end, and the meaning is exactly the same. So you may say, whom she was talking to. He's the actor that she was talking to. Or you can omit the relative pronoun and then you say, he's the actor she was talking to. Now, something for you to remember. When the preposition is at the end, you can omit the relative pronoun, okay? You can say, he's the actor she was talking to. So you omit the relative pronoun, but you cannot omit it when the preposition is at the beginning. You have to use the relative pronoun. So you cannot say, he's the actor to she was talking. No, you need the relative pronoun, to whom, okay? And you don't use who. It has to be whom, okay? He's the actor to whom she was talking to. Now, when you're dealing with things like in this case, it's the studio for which he works. Okay, here you have another preposition. And the preposition is at the beginning of the adjective clause. And here you have the preposition at the end of the adjective clause. And the same thing happens. Okay, if the preposition is at the beginning, you cannot omit the relative pronoun. Okay, you have to say, it's the studio for which he works. But if the preposition is at the end, then it is possible to omit the relative pronoun. So you have here three alternatives. It's the studio which he works for, it's the studio that he works for, or it's the studio he works for. Okay? You have three choices, and then you choose any of them when the preposition is at the end. What about when you have a relative pronoun indicating possession, okay? You cannot have the preposition at the beginning, only at the end. Look at the examples. That's the director whose movies I told you about. Okay, remember, you cannot say that's the director about whose. No, about has to be at the end. That's the director whose movies I told you about. That's the movie whose director I spoke of. Okay, the prepositions go only at the end of the sentence. Now, let us continue. What happens if you have a quantifier and then a preposition? You see, quantifier, preposition, relative pronoun. So the general rule is that the word that introduces an adjective clause is a relative pronoun. Yes, but that is not always true. It is possible to have sometimes a preposition before. But there is another variation, and it is when you have a quantifier. So what is the order? Quantifier, preposition, relative pronoun. Okay? Now, look at the examples. I have many friends, all of whom are actors. Okay? I have many friends, most of whom are actors. I have many friends, a number of whom are actors. Okay, this is when we're talking about people. In this case, we're talking about friends. What about when we talk about things? I was in a lot of movies. You can use any quantifier, okay? I was in a lot of movies, a few of which. Okay, why which? Because we're talking about movies and that is a thing. Okay, I was in a lot of movies, a couple of which were successes. You remember that you can use any quantifier. You may say, I was in a lot of movies, all of which were successes. Okay, now let us see the last two examples. Here you have this. Look at this line. This one from the beginning to the end. Okay, so you say, that's the director whose movies are classics. Okay? And the last one, then you follow this line. Okay, and then you say, that's the movie whose actors got it worse. Okay? Now, when you have a whose, you cannot use a quantifier. Okay, so if you try to say that's the director both of whose movies are classics, no. You have that's the director whose movies are classics. That's the movie whose actors got it worse. At the beginning, I told you that an adjective clause starts with a relative pronoun. But we studied today, we have seen today, but that doesn't happen in all the cases. Sometimes you may have a preposition, sometimes a quantifier, and today we see that it is possible to start an adjective clause with a noun. Look at this. She makes comedies, comma, an example of which is Julie and Julia. Another example, I love that series, comma, an episode of which is Julie and Julia. Okay? In this case, we have at the beginning of the adjective clause a noun, example, episode, and after that we have of which. This is a variation of adjective clauses, something that you have to remember. Let us continue. And here we have adjective clauses with adjective phrase. Look at this. He's the actor who's from the film school. Here you have an adjective clause, okay? The subject of the adjective clause is who. The verb is. Now, it is possible to convert an adjective clause into an adjective phrase, okay? If it is a phrase, it doesn't have a subject and verb. So if you have an adjective clause and you want to make it an adjective phrase, what do you have to omit? You omit the subject and verb. And then you leave only the preposition and the rest, okay? So look at the example. He is the actor who's from the film school, or he is the actor from the film school, okay? What kind of phrase is it? It is an adjective phrase modifying actor, identifying actor. Let us look at the other sentence. I saw the film, which is based on that book. This is an adjective clause, which, subject is verb. Now look at the phrase. We have only based on that book. What have we omitted? We have omitted which and is. The relative pronoun, the subject, and the verb. And then you have, I saw the film based on that book. This is an adjective phrase, no subject, no verb after a noun. So the phrase is modifying the noun, so it is an adjective phrase. Look at the other example. That's the man who was in charge of lighting. And then let us see the phrase. That's the man in charge of lighting. What is different? We have omitted the subject and verb. Okay? Let us see the last example. I read the scripts that are on my desk. I read the scripts on my desk. Adjective phrase, no subject and verb. Okay? Adjective clause. That relative pronoun working as subject and then verb. What happens if I omit are and I omit that? What do I have left? I have left an adjective phrase. Now, let us continue with the last chart. Look at this. He is the actor who plays the king. Okay, we have here adjective clause. And here we have an adjective phrase. But this is different. In what way is it different? Okay, who plays the king? He is the actor playing the king. In this case, we omit the subject, but the principal verb gets into the ing form. What happens if I omit, like in the previous case, I omit the relative pronoun and the verb? Then I would have left, he is the actor, the king. That doesn't make sense, okay? So this is not possible. I cannot omit the relative pronoun and the verb. So what do? I omit the pronoun, I keep the verb, but in the ing form. And now listen to this. He is the actor playing the king. Yes, that is good grammar. That is correct. Look at the other sentence. Babel is a picture which stars Brad Pitt. And look at the transformation. Babel is a picture starring Brad Pitt. And the last one, it's a love story that takes place in Rome. Okay, what do if I want to change from an adjective clause to an adjective phrase? I omit the relative pronoun or the subject. Working as the subject, I keep the verb, but I put it in the ing form. So I say, it's a love story taking place in Rome. Okay? As you have seen, grammar is not difficult. It is full of little things. I invite you to watch the video as many times as you wish. In order to master all the information that you have here, do the exercises. If you are in doubt, ask your classmates or your tutor. If you see someone needing help, try to help. In doing that, you help yourself. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. That would be all for today. Thank you and bye.